Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures. College football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds. NBA odds of division winners and playoffs. Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds. The National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds. And boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday from myself and the gents here, National Professional Sports Show. Hi, guys. How are you all tonight? Got J-Train, Bistrella, Bo, and Tip. How y'all doing?
Good.
Awesome. It's Wednesday, your second favorite day of the week. I mean, most of the time it's hump day, so you're halfway there to the weekend. And, of course, you're joining us. Make sure you download the Roku app so that you too can follow us on sports. We got lots of good shows. Everybody on here has a show, and we keep the sports news coming 24/7 without the cost of cable. Thank you to over 12,615 of you who have already followed us on Roku and given us a 3.4-star viewer rating. We appreciate that, and we're on our way to 15,000, and you can help us get there by sharing this live with your family and friends who love all sports. We want to give a shout out right now to Mac. Mac, continue to rest up. We miss you. We're praying for you as you recover. And Miss Linda, we cannot thank you both enough for this huge opportunity to be part of the network. All right, guys, let's get talking. We only got 54 minutes before the show is over. After you run all the credits, big news today, the Atlanta Falcons, the defensive coordinator, his son, who was responsible for this prank on Shedeur Sanders on draft day, gets fined $250,000 to the team and another $100,000 to the Falcons. J-Train, I want your input first because this is our divisional rival. And, I mean, do you think that punishment was too steep? I mean, is it really the Falcons themselves' fault?
It wasn't enough. I mean, that's just a debacle. First of all, I don't think I've ever heard anything like this ever happening. And it wasn't just one player; it was multiple players. I mean, this is life-changing events for people, and that's a real cruel joke, man. Some of those guys, you're thinking like, particularly Shedeur Sanders, he's sliding down, and so you call him and play the prank, and then I don't think it's enough money. I think they should. Since they're affecting the draft or in a negative way, maybe they should take a draft capital away from them.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Bo, I'm sorry. Go ahead, J-Train.
No, that was it. That's how I felt about it. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Bo, you've played professional sports. Have you heard of anything like this?
Prank calls? Yeah, this is not the first time.
On this level.
No. Yeah, prank calls have happened at the draft before. This is the first time that it's happened within an organization, though. So that's why this is getting so much backlash, because it happens. There's usually one or two every couple of years. Usually it's one of the draftees' friends. being a jerk, which, you know, it's kind of funny, but still, because I know my buddies would do that to me. The fact that this happened within an organization, that's where this gets interesting, because, you know, you're going to find them, right? You have to. And, you know, I actually like the idea of maybe taking a draft pick or two away, something like that. Like I could get into that. You know, the worst part about this, and it's going to affect the whole league, and everybody that has an iPad is going to want to just beat the snot out of this kid, because everything is going to be 2-part verification and all to get in, and it's going to log you out all the time. And it's going to be such a cumbersome thing to use those things effectively. And it's all because he thought he was doing something funny. And it actually nothing would have even come of it, except he had the brainchild idea of recording it and putting it out there, because otherwise no one really would have figured out where it was coming from.
Right.
Even though Shador had a dedicated phone that only the GMs and people had, right? So it wasn't one where his friends could mess with him or anything like that. He had a dedicated phone to it, but you still wouldn't have known where the leak was. But then you go off and you record yourself. Like, I am so glad there wasn't video of me doing dumb stuff as a kid, because, man, there'd be a lot of it. But at the same time, like, all of a sudden, this is costing your dad and a franchise a total of $350,000. Like, that's not cheap, right? Especially when you think of how much Jeff is making anyway, right? His whole contract's like $300K.
Oh my God. And you know what? I will inject before I move on to Bistrella and Tip here on this one. I amen your sentiment. I'm so glad that recording was not like it is now, because I've done my own share of pranks on college campus. But to know that, I mean, my whole thing is mental health is a real thing. This guy is already down because he's sliding down the draft picks. That's what got me. Like, to watch it, to hear about it is one thing, but audience, if you haven't watched this video, you really need to pull this clip. It is heartbreaking. Even if you're not a fan, like, that could have really been the end all for him. If he was one of these people who just was ready to crash out, like, seriously, that could have really done some really irreversible damage. And so for me, you know, I was on with Jack yesterday, and we were talking about what the appropriate punishment is. You know, Jack is pretty conservative on a lot of stuff. He wanted to basically take away the child. Well, he's not a child. The son's privileges for 10 seasons to not attend a Falcons football game. And he felt like, you know, I'm like, that's 10 years, Jack. And so as we welcome in Keith, good evening, Keith. And he thought that was adequate punishment. I never thought, guys, that they would be actually fining the Falcons organization. We live in an era that, especially with Apple products, they usually ask for a fingerprint or some sort of multi-authentication anyway, which means this kid had to have this permission to go on there.
Well, the report said that it wasn't logged out of. And
wow.
So if that's the case, that just means that he probably had it plugged in and had it set up so that it doesn't turn off when it's plugged in.
Oh,
right?
Or at home, like a home base that it doesn't lock out.
It was at their house.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. You
it's
can
the
put it on
father's
location.
fault.
That's exactly it. It's his fault that his kid got a hold of it. And so it's unfortunate, because it's gonna create a lot of extra obstacles just to do what they already do. And I can say that I do exactly that. Like, I have my laptop set up so when it's plugged in, it's on. I don't want to have to log in every 5 seconds.
Right.
It's annoying. So yeah, I get how it happened. And then his kid just was opportunistic in a expensive way.
Yeah, he's 21. He's grown. I mean, we know that, you know, you're still maturing at 21, but you're not like a 10-year-old that did this. Tip, what were your thoughts on this?
I guess it's going to be up to me to play devil's advocate with some of this stuff, right? Like, it's a prank call, guys. And I think what we are is we're armed with hindsight. We get to see that, you know, Shedeur Sanders slid all the way to day 3 in the 5th round. This prank call was made in the very first part of draft day 2, right? It was the 2nd round, right before the Saints make their 40th pick where they wind up taking a quarterback anyway. Yes, it's kind of asinine that, they do these prank calls, they do all this stuff. It's not necessarily like if you're going to start punishing parents because of what their kids do, it becomes a slippery slope, right? Like I get it, you have to set some sort of precedence, but how does this help Shedeur Sanders feel better? Like how does any of this, because that's how I am, right? Whenever you have an apology for something, there has to be some sort of retribution. There is no retribution here for Shedeur Sanders. The Falcons get fined, the coach gets fined. It's not the coach's fault. To find that coach, I don't care if you're 21 years old, you're going outside, you're getting a switch. It's
no question.
Simple, man. Right? I'm from Texas, buddy. We're handling this a different way.
You cost me $100K. I don't care if we're related or not. You're getting a switch.
Yeah, I'm getting my $100K back one way or another. Like it's going to be that way. But I don't see how punishing the team and punishing the coach this way is really the right solution to this, right? Like at the end of the day, was anyone really harmed? Right? Like again, Shedeur went through the first round. He had to have the embarrassment of that. I hope it motivates him, right? Like I'm on the side of Shedeur Sanders of I hope that this puts it all together. You realize you can't go into these meetings with headphones on and music doing all this stuff. You can't answer questions of where you're going to be in 5 years as I'm going to be the mayor of this city. You have to take this stuff seriously. And I hope that what this does is that it helps him start taking this seriously. Like it becomes a motivating factor. You want to make fun of me? I'm going to shove this straight up your rear end. So far, you have no idea what we're going to do with this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, is it has nothing to do with punishing or making Shedeur feel better. This is about data breach is what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Not protecting intellectual property. That's what that is. And so that's where this punishment comes through. Again, the NFL doesn't care about people, period. They're about protecting their brand. This affects their brand. You can't have the breach within the company. If it's a prank phone call from outside, which has happened many times over years, you know how much of a story that is? None. The fact that this came from inside with privileged information, that's where the punishment comes from. They don't care about Shedeur. They don't care about Jeff. Right. They don't care about any of these people. They're like, do not mess with our brand.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many other things that are out there that mess with the NFL's brand so much more than a prank call made on draft day.
But it's not.
But I guess you don't want to open the door for like lawsuits or anything like that. So they're probably thinking litigation. Sonja, that'd be up your alley. I'm pretty sure you would know more about that.
And it's funny because I actually one of my mentors is a sports entertainment attorney, and I have just texted him a couple of days ago because I'm trying to get him on the show because I want to get his input about all of that. And he told me he was going to get back with me. So I do want to plug in real quick though. This is kind of a little off the topic, but this is the reason why I have a problem with Bill Belichick inviting his girlfriend to be copied on these emails with the University of North Carolina. Of course, that's not NFL, but I'm sure Belichick still has some old NFL emails. Now, whatever they talk about at dinner is them, but to require her to be copied, on emails that are pertaining to the University of North Carolina's football team, it kind of goes hand in hand with me. If you are being paid, like there's some jobs you have to take an oath that you will not disclose information, NDAs and stuff like that. So for you to basically boldly come out and say, oh no, I'm getting my girlfriend. I don't know if he's trying to get in front of it and say, hey, yeah, we talk about you guys off the record. So that way there's no conflict, that I'm actually talking about it or what. But it is really crazy. I just wanted to plug that in. And Trilla, what were your thoughts about this punishment? And then Keith, I'm definitely dying to get your take on this.
Well,
careful.
I'll put it to you this way. The punishment is that now everybody's aware. It was the sanctity of his home. He trusted his son like most parents do. I mean, to a point, of course. But he trusted his son. You think he's going to come in here and go ham on the iPad and take all the numbers off there and start prank calling people? I mean, he's 21 years old. He's a grown man at that point. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, now this causes a lot of, for him as a father, it's going to be like, oh man, I can't trust you. I got to lock everything up now. and get out my house and don't come back until you give me my $100,000. That's about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That part.
So I mean, it's gonna make everybody aware now. You know, sometimes we gotta have that moment where people are really comfortable at where they're at, and they leave things open, and it's all, and then suddenly somebody does something like this, and then all of a sudden everything's gotta be on lockdown. So.
Hey, Blue. Blue makes a good point. What's up, Frat? He says punishing a parent for not protecting sensitive information and/or material. And Let's Talk Sports Network. Good evening to you guys. They said it's about protecting the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like I get it, right? Like it was dumb, it was stupid. There had to be some sort of repercussions for it, right? My whole thing with this kid is with as much nepotism as we see in the NFL, dude, you just blew your shot. Like you could have walked in and been on a coaching staff at any point in time after you graduated, and now that is not going to happen. Like if I'm his dad, I can't hire that because I already saw what it did, and that's the thing that I think like there's going to be long-term repercussions of this because you wanted to be so dumb and you wanted to do it for the clout, and you're going to record yourself doing all this dumb stuff, doing all that nonsense.
Oh yeah, that was the funny part.
I don't
Hello, Kenny.
I don't even want to say that's the funny part. I think that's a stupid part.
It was funny for them. They were laughing. And hi to Kenny and Scott. Let me get Keith to weigh in on this. He's been eagerly waiting for his round. I mean, Keith is the college extraordinaire host. And so this was the college draft into the NFL, you know, introducing these guys. I mean, was this really a situation that will always, you know, basically scar Shedeur?
I don't know how Scar should. If Shedeur is scarred by a prank phone call, then he's not tough enough to play in the NFL. Number one,
right?
That's first. Let's get that out of here first. It's to me. There's a lot of pieces to this. You guys have talked about a lot of different pieces. As far as a kid, 21 years old, you're still a kid. Sorry, you don't mature. Believe me.
You're about 30.
We all been young men, and we're not mature. 21 years old.
Still working on it.
40.
Maybe if you're fighting for your country, you are. If anybody did, thank you for your service. I don't mean to, maybe you're a lot more mature then, but these kids aren't, and most kids aren't. It's an immature act, and the phone call itself, I don't care. It's a prank phone call. I could care less. And if Shedeur is scarred, he's very weak of mind. The other part about the coach getting in trouble for leaving his laptop open, staying logged in. I'll tell you what, I work from home now 100% of the time since COVID. If I'd done it in the office, if I'd done it anywhere, if I walked away from my computer, well, first of all, they shut down after an amount of time anyway, and it's going to log me. If I walk away.
Theirs will now too, probably.
Yeah. If I walk away and somebody uses my computer and does something nefarious with it, I'm going to get fired. I'm not going to get
They tell you to always lock it. Always lock it.
So the coach is stupid for leaving his stuff laying around. Whether you trust your kids, your wife, or whoever, that's company property, intellectual property and stuff that belongs to the company.
Mm-hmm.
To him.
Keith, you're telling me that the DC doesn't stand for defensive coordinator, it stands for something else?
Yes.
No. I think the main takeaway was only watch porn on other people's computer.
Yes. Make sure you're doing that.
Here we go.
Here we go. I didn't even start that today.
I just figured I'd get us rolling.
I
literally was being good today.
I mean, now
this thing, right?
Now we've just got to figure out the genre that we're going to be watching on someone else.
I'm watching none of it.
It's sports theme, obviously.
Well,
you always know it's going to be a good time whenever me and Bo get together because if you teach me the lines, I'm knocking it out, baby.
So you know what? By the way,
is it safe to come back?
Never.
This just to bring it back 1 second. This kid really shouldn't be punished for the rest of his life for a prank phone call either.
No,
I mean, come on.
So let's get with the comments here, and then I want to bring in some breaking news that just came out. I'm sitting here, that's why y'all saw me to the side real quick. It's kind of akin to what I've already talked about. So basically, Kenny's saying Scott's saying hello. He said, I wonder if his dad told him how he walked into interviews, and he said, I'm going to do it the same way. And then he said, Shador will be fine, but this is not the first time this has happened. Kenny says brains keep developing. They don't stop at 21. And he knows 40-year-old kids. And he feels like Jeff Ulbrich was not fined enough.
Kenny, I think to your point there, it means their brain did stop developing.
Yeah, it did. The cerebrum cortex continues geographically, historically, biologically, all that stuff to develop until a human is 28 years old. So that's when that's the real age of accountability, so to speak, because that's the decision maker.
We have turned to discovery.
We have.
I'm 65 and my brain hasn't matured yet. So
I feel
that.
star to go across.
In fact, I'm starting to forget things that I do know, so I don't know how I can remember things I'm supposed to know.
I think after I got out of the military, I was like, I don't have to worry about being mature anymore. I can regress.
Yes, just blame it on
both, brother.
On that. Yeah,
it's actually what the drinking's for, right? Like it's survival of the fittest. It's only the bad, dumb brain cells that die, and so you're getting smarter with every drink.
Oh my God!
Well, when you drink, it pickles your brain.
Do not promote this, guys.
This is what actually keeps me calm.
You blatantly stole that from Cliff Clavin on Cheers. I know you did.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. So, of course,
that being said, if you have a problem with drinking, there is a 1-800 number you can call.
There you go. We have it, or Google it. Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know, guys, but I will tell you this. This is my thoughts on it. And I'm trying to remove my disdain for the Falcons before I say what I'm saying. I don't think it's fair that the organization got fined for this, because I feel like it's not an organizational issue. I think it's the person they hired. Now, if he lost his job as a result of this, it's almost the same, to be honest with you, with Bo telling us his contract was only $300,000. He's only going to have $50,000 left after he pays his fine. That is insane. It's almost the equivalent of losing his job. What's the RM deal?
Well, only 100 of it was his.
Oh, wow. Well,
only 100 of it was his. So he's still doing okay.
He lost a third of his money. That's not okay.
I'm going to tell you that.
Better than having to give them $50K above what your contract is.
I mean, and now the Falcons are going to be looking for a real reason to terminate him at the end of this season. Just watch what I tell you. It's just one poor performance, one injury that wasn't supposed to happen. These boys better go all the way to the Super Bowl and win it if he wants to keep his job, because they say defense wins championships.
$350,000 to a $1 billion organization ain't nothing. Like they're all right. They got to keep draft capital. They got to keep all.
Yeah, but to him personally, the DC. I mean,
no, but that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like with him, that's a lot of money. But to the Falcons, like they don't have to worry about any of this. Like if their defense doesn't perform, he's going to be gone anyway. If their defense is good, people are going to forget about it.
Yeah, I brought up something else a little bit earlier on as we shift gears. I mean, we'll kind of tail back to Shador in a moment on something else, but it won't be as in depth because we've spent over 20 minutes now talking about this, and we have so much other things to talk about. Of course, everything is important, but we just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to weigh in on this. And we thank everybody for the comments. Real quick, Scott says Jeff Ulbrich will now be paying the Falcons to be DC, not the other way around. And Kenny says Nick Florio brought up this point today. If someone can get access to a phone number that's easily, think of what else they're getting access to. And that's why you have the multi-authenticator apps. Now, I brought up the fact of Bill Belichick having his girlfriend copied on his emails and what have you. Well, there was an interview that just occurred, and she was basically right there, interrupted it and everything. Well, they've come out and made a statement today. They have released a statement, CBS Sports. I'm getting a statement from Bill Belichick. He's basically agreeing now that he's just going to make sure that his interviews focus solely on his new book. And basically, the question came about when they were asking how he met, his girlfriend, Hudson. And so because she was all in there and all that kind of stuff, it just got really, really crazy. And CBS had to get involved and basically say, there's no preconditions or limitations or the interview. And this was confirmed with Belichick's publisher before this happened. First of all, y'all, like, what are your thoughts on this? And I'm not even talking about the fact that he's 50 years older.
Listen. All you need to know, Bill Belichick has gone around the bend. I'll be nice, and I'm going to get people to hate me and women to hate me. To use a part of a term, he's whipped badly.
Yeah.
Bill
Yeah.
Belichick in the past never would have brought her to an interview. She wouldn't show up at practice. He wouldn't write an email, which, by the way, I read the whole email. He didn't write that. She wrote that. I guarantee you she wrote it. And a couple articles I read today out of the Boston area is that friends of his are very concerned about this relationship in general. They are generally talking to him about, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't again. I guess I got to be the dude that's going to play devil's advocate here, right? She is his manager. They have agreed to that she is his.
She's
manager.
the president of Belichick Productions.
Exactly.
Yes.
And don't have no ring. And don't have a ring. That's my thing.
Well, I mean, the ring might be as old as he is. God knows, right? Like whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is whenever the interviewer
Definitely
says,
as old as she is.
whenever the interviewer says, let's talk about your relationship, she's like, no. We're keeping it on the book. How is it that Bill Belichick's going to say, yeah, we're going to keep talking about the book? We're not going to talk about the relationship, how we met, any of this nonsense. How is she getting raked over the coals on this when she's trying to keep it about the book?
This I'm talking only about Bill Belichick. I could care. First of all, it's not a good visual anyway. Bill Belichick and this girl. I'm sorry.
Why are you visualizing this?
Think about that.
Why?
You guys think about that for a second.
Now I know what genre we're looking up.
Hey, Robbie.
You don't want to think about Bill Belichick's toes curling.
There it is.
All right. So with that being said,
okay.
we have
Okay. That's going too far now.
That's the definition of being whipped.
That will do it today. Jordan Travis expresses.
Come on.
Acknowledge. I can't even get my words out, guys. Jordan Travis today advised everybody he's retiring. Unfortunately, the Florida State graduate and player has retired from the NFL due to a serious leg injury. Of course, he came in not too long ago, but we wish Jordan the best. That was a little bit shocking. The Porsche Draft Power rankings have come out now. And, of course, people cannot stop talking about Shador. But get this, guys. As much as people thought that Shador was going to go to the Steelers, Will Howard comes out today and basically talks about how he begged and implored the Steelers to draft him. What are you guys' thoughts?
So I do like him for the Steelers. He is a big-bodied guy, a guy that they've been missing since Big Ben.
Absolutely.
Like, he is absolutely the type of quarterback that organization likes.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that he is a great pick for that. And on that last topic, I think how they met was he handed her a juice box once. I think that's how.
Yeah, well, he made reservations at Chuck E. Cheese that she couldn't get nowhere else. All right. So,
that's kind of like, isn't that like taking out a preschool? Isn't that kind of like a predatory kind of thing?
Oh my God. Hunter Renfrow, 29 years old today, has been returned. He explains why he took a hiatus from the NFL. He's now drafted by the Carolina Panthers, only 29 years old. He had taken a hiatus from the league after being drafted by it was at the time Oakland Raiders, now Las Vegas Raiders, in 2019. And he played for them until 2023. And then he signed with the Panthers this year. He took a 1-year hiatus from the NFL because he was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, an autoimmune condition that caused him significant weight loss, fatigue, and high fevers. We're so glad that he's back and doing better and able to get into the league. Let's move along, guys, to some NBA news. Giannis confrontation. Milwaukee's Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo had a confrontation with Tyrese Halliburton's father after the Bucks playoff loss. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
I saw the headline. I didn't see it.
Giannis is class personified. You can go ahead, Keith.
So what I want to know is how, like, I don't care who you are. Like, you can be the dad, the mother, brother, sister, wife, whatever of any athlete. Security should not just be so loose to let you get on the court at any point before, during, after the game, because that's not the time for you to be there. For John Halliburton to get up in Giannis Antetokounmpo's face like that and feeling, emboldened enough to start chirping at him. If Giannis Antetokounmpo wanted to smash this guy in front of the whole world, I don't think any of us would have had a problem with it.
Thank you, Philly Sport, for joining us. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it does seem like a security issue.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
issues. There's people wandering around the court before the game, halftime. They're all over the court all the time, people. Good. Well, they're seated on the court. So that, I mean, you've already got an inherent problem there. And security, there's going to be a serious issue with something like this. Because Tip is right. Giannis probably would have been within his right to smack the guy, but guess what would happen after that?
Well, especially because Giannis didn't know that
Right.
was Giannis didn't know that was Tyrese Halliburton's dad. So
Right,
he was
right.
he thought he was going to be assaulted by a fan. He could have picked this dude up and thrown him. And I think all of us would have been like, you know what? You shouldn't have been on the court.
We've seen fans throwing food at players at NBA. NBA is the worst place because of the proximity of the fans. And again, that's always going to be a problem. But they need enhanced security in these places, or you're going to have a very serious situation at some point. And this could have turned into one.
Palace. That's
Yeah, I
all
don't know
gotta
what
say.
they're doing. I really don't.
It was just totally unnecessary. I mean, and Tyrese was just embarrassed by his father, and he got up and said that he was wrong for doing that. You don't get in some, especially after a loss. It was just totally classless. You just and Tyrese is celebrating somewhere, and he don't realize his dad is acting like this, and he has no idea. And then of course it goes off into Giannis and another one of the Pacers players getting into it. I mean, it was just heated. And, you know, you lose, emotions are high. You win, emotions are high. But if you're a fan or if you're a family member of one of the teammates here, I mean, one of the players, you just got to keep yourself composed. You really can't do that. I mean, they should maybe they should ban the father from even coming to games for the rest of the playoffs.
It's exactly what they should do.
Yeah.
Exactly what they.
Can I play devil's advocate one more time?
Oh my God. Sure, Tip.
Just give him some horns.
Can we give a little bit of like love and respect to John Halliburton? Because if some 6'11" dude is coming at me, I ain't standing there to take it. He stood there like, I'm ready for this work. He was ready for all the smoke. He's got some grapefruits going on with him, man. Like, you got to give some respect to that guy.
It's because he knew he wasn't going to get punched in the head, right? Like,
If he did, he would get a lot of money.
You can bet if it was Meta World Peace running up on him, he might have been like, you know what? I might get socked in the face.
Yeah, it was fake toughness.
That's
Tip.
100%
toughness. There's no way he's going up to Shaq or to Charles Oakley or any. Come on.
Oh yeah,
I don't
no.
care. Big
I
is
saw
big.
Charles Oakley in person. He lives in Atlanta now.
No, so big is big, but
Crazy's
some of these
crazy.
dudes will hit you.
Crazy's crazy.
Just tough. Yes. Who was the guy? Serge Ibaka. Nobody's coming up on Serge Ibaka.
Oh yeah,
Not at all. Super tough.
You're gonna get DDT.
No way.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I
was
don't
definitely-
think most fans in their right mind will go up against any athlete that's on the floor, no matter who they are, because
Yeah, these guys.
they are athletes.
Yes,
They train to do that.
They
So,
train to
you
do
know,
everything.
not train to beat people's behinds, but I'm saying they just train and they're constant. They have strength, unseemly strength.
Except
So-
most of them, won't actually do anything. That's why these people feel emboldened to go out there and do that, because they're like,
They're
this guy's
not
not going to do
emboldened.
anything. They're security.
Until they F around and find out. Until
That's
they F around
exactly
and
it.
find out. That's what's
It's
going to
gonna
happen.
be it's gonna be that one dude that's like, you know what? Today's that day.
Yes,
I mean,
like
we
I
see it all the
just
time.
yeah.
Like we make fun of it all the time with the NBA, right? Like, these dudes aren't ever going to fight. They get up in each other's face. They do their weird punches
Yeah,
that they
what
do
is
in the
rain
NBA.
dance.
They
They
don't
do
know.
their weird rain dance and then they go somewhere. Talk about
Yeah, but that's players versus players. That's a whole different thing. But when it's players versus fans, you can be like hood, like, you know, we saw Meta World Peace. Well, he wasn't Meta World Peace at the time. Go up into the stands at the Palace.
Ron
and
Artest
just beat the
in
crap
the-
out of
with
him.
the
Yeah.
Pacers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
they
was
cleared the
locked.
whole stands on that. Speaking of the
Mhm.
Pacers, which is the team he played with, the Indiana Pacers, pulled off the biggest comeback in franchise playoff history, guys. I mean, these NBA playoffs are lit. What were you guys' thoughts on that game?
Well, it wasn't the biggest ever like distance. It was the shortest period of time for distance.
With them, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it was lack of execution on the Bucks side, right? Like that, it was them falling apart. They were up, I think it was 8
Right,
with
Kenny.
50 seconds to go. So, I mean, all they had to do was be smart with the ball, and instead they trapped themselves in the corner and then they turned the ball over. I mean, it was lack of execution on their end. This should have been another game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Robbie says they're soft anyway because broken fingernails is 2-week injury. I mean, maybe not, but we are heating up. And speaking of the playoffs, I mean, Keith, did you get a chance to see that game at all?
No, I was watching a Nick game and throwing up there, so I was busy.
Okay, well,
As you should.
we'll move on. Let me ask you guys questions about the Orlando Magic. Now, their scoring flaws have now been exposed, and it has shown just how much, by them being eliminated, their need for a good scoring guard. They clearly didn't have that, and they are now out of playoff contentions.
I mean, that's what happens whenever you're a play-in team. That's what happens. Like no one had any thoughts here that Miami was going to beat Boston or that Orlando was going to beat Boston. Like there was no shot that it was going to happen.
Yeah, snowball's chance in Hades.
I'm surprised they even won a game.
It's shocking they got a game. I agree.
Well, I will say this: in the regular season, they were 2-1 against Boston, so they did have a winning record against Boston in the regular season. But in the playoffs, that's what makes the NBA playoffs so great. The cream is going to rise to the top. The better team is always going to win in a 7-game series, and Boston is clearly the better team.
You guys agree Boston's a better team? Is it because they're defending playoffs? Is it because they're defending champions?
I mean,
they're loaded. They play great defense. Every player on that team can score and they can play defense. It's just
in that particular game too, in the one that they eliminated Orlando, they didn't even do their barrage of 3-pointers like they usually do. They were scoring a lot of points in the paint, and so they can show you they can beat you at any part of the any part of the game.
And this is their window because they're top heavy. They got like a second apron that's going to really break that team up in about maybe 1 or 2 years. Because you got $200-300 million players, one $198 million player. It's unreal how much they're paying these players, but they better win. They better win.
It felt like it was a statement game to me with like Boston, right? Because you heard the commentators throughout the first couple of games saying, "Oh, Orlando's playing them tough. Orlando's giving the NBA the blueprint on how you can beat Boston." And Boston came out here and said, "I don't care how big your interior defense is. We'll just dominate you in Game 5. We'll go on our happy little way." And now you got to worry about not only stopping us on the threes, where we've had a historic season shooting threes, but now you got to be able to stop us on the inside. And to me, I think Keith and J-Train and I, a few months back, we said this was going to be the team that would win the NBA championship. I'm still holding steady on this. I still think it's Boston. They're so much better than everyone else. Detroit got robbed on Sunday. How come we haven't spoken about that
I was just about to bring that up. You read my mind. 103-100. The Knicks won this close game, and this concluded the first round series. They won by advancing 4-1 over the Pistons, guys.
Listen, I know Tip wants to go to Sunday. I'm going to start with last night because Sunday led to them calling fouls, just putting a hand on somebody's butt last night, for crying out loud.
I'm starting with last night, Keith.
It was ridiculous. And I'm a huge Tom Thibodeau fan, but you can't be sitting there with a timeout and hoping I might need it with 5 seconds left. And I got my two best players, arguably, standing on the sideline. Can't get in the game because you won't foul, which I get. I don't want to give up 2 easy points, but you won't call your last time out to get your 2 best players in the game for nearly 2 minutes last night. That's why they lost.
That was crazy.
And now
that would have stressed me out.
But they got to go to Detroit. And Detroit's got, Jax likes to say there's no home court advantage. Well, there is everywhere. And Detroit right now has got momentum. They're going to win Friday. When are they playing Friday?
Yeah, but to come back from
and they had a momentum when they won Game 2, but they didn't do anything in the next 2 home games.
I just have a bet, and being a Knicks fan, and since I'm a little kid and not seeing a championship for like 60 years, almost it seems 52. They're going to find a way to lose a series. They should be home resting so they can figure out a way to beat the Celtics. And we got to worry about going to Detroit now.
That's true.
7 games.
They should have won that game. They should have won that.
And my favorite Knicks stat.
Blame.
My favorite Knicks stat is the fact that they haven't won a closeout game at home since 1999.
Shocking.
Yeah, I was literally about to bring up the stat about closeout games.
Let's just say one more thing about Tom Thibodeau, and I love Tom Thibodeau. I want to say it one more time. You can't go to the post-game conference and say, coach's decision. Say, I made a mistake. It's okay. You can say, I screwed up. I can't get my best two players in the game, with 2.5 minutes left of the game. That's crazy. I screwed up.
You know, the second Tom Thibodeau says I screwed up, that's going to be front page news. It's going to be more of
especially in New York Times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, he didn't use a timeout. He could have used a timeout to get Brunson and Hart back in that game.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. He said he wanted to save the timeout for later. Later when? At dinner?
Well, again, devil's advocate here. He uses that timeout, and they don't have a timeout at the end of the game, and they have the ball or something. That's going to be more fire for the tabloids.
No, my best player is not on the floor in the most important part of the game.
But they were both hurt. You weren't really going to have their best performance either.
And you guys talk home court. It's super close. The pundits are going that Detroit may win this next game. They are saying that it's in favor of the Pistons.
I think they'll win Thursday night. I think
they haven't showed me that they can win at home yet, and it's still a young team.
That's what the pundits.
2008.
Exactly.
Of course, they play tomorrow night, May 1st, in the D-Tweezy, and so you guys make sure you check out. One thing I want to say: NBA on TNT is about to be no more. This is the last season of it. I don't even know how to give a shout out anymore when we're talking about catching them because. Ernie, all those guys came out. They were very emotional about it. Of course, it's moving away from TNT and going over to, I guess, regular streaming like everything else is and other networks.
I don't even know where they're going. Where are they going?
It's going to be the studio show for ESPN.
Oh, wow. ESPN. Okay.
Yeah. So Shaq, Kenny, EJ, and Charles, they're going to be with ESPN next year. The thing that sucks about it is you got a bunch of people at Turner Sports that are going to lose a job. Yeah. And I think that's the most disappointing part about it. I don't know, as far as I know nothing else except for TNT basketball. So for me, having to go to Amazon to watch basketball now
is weird.
It's a weird time.
TBS was the same with CNN down here in Atlanta when a lot of people lost their jobs when they started moving TBS and things like that around as well.
I'm not a fan of pregame shows, but the two I like are College Game Day on Saturdays on ESPN, which amazing they haven't screwed up. And this one, I think, is the second best pregame show in sports.
And of course, Corso is retiring. He's not coming back.
He's going to do one more game.
One more
game. TNT's been a great show. I mean, it's a bunch of goofballs. They know their basketball.
Oh man, the chemistry is great.
And Kenny is so funny to get. Listen, I thought when they started doing the pregame for the NCAA tournament, it was going to be just a joke because they're great. They're great in whatever they do. I just ESPN will find a way to screw it up too, probably.
They're really great. Let's talk about a couple of more NBA games, and then we're going to switch over to MLB as we get ready for our last 12 minutes of the show. Of course, T-Wolves and Lakers. The T-Wolves did what they were supposed to do and close out their series against LeBron and company. That Luka trade looks like it didn't really, fare out too well. I don't know. Maybe, it's too early to tell. Maybe they need another season. But, another season to get on point. And then the Warriors-Rockets game, of course, Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Buckets proving that he was a good trade. And they will be facing the Houston Rockets on tonight. 3-1 series lead, both of those games.
Lakers. You can't win with three guys. You can't win with three guys and a bunch of guys who can't play basketball. And the Lakers aren't deep. They've got nothing outside of Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. That's all they have. And when one of those guys is off, they're in trouble.
And not even Reeves. Let's be honest. Reeves ain't that guy.
He's not the third option in the league for sure. I agree. But them,
he'd be a fourth.
He's a decent third option. I mean, for what he is, he was not drafted. So, he's let's just say they got their investment, the return on their investment, which was really not much of anything.
But the rest of that team, we talk about weak bench on the Knicks and the benches here. They don't even have strong 5 or even an okay 5.
How
They're
about
four-
that?
I said it after the
They're
trade.
not big. They're not big. They don't. I mean, and these guys are big in Minnesota, so
They
that
don't play defense at all.
I said it after the trade. B. Strilla actually told me on my show, The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, that you can catch every Monday through Friday on National Streaming Sports.
Plug it in, Tim.
There
Plug
it
it in.
B. Strilla told me a couple of weeks ago, whenever I said that the Lakers wouldn't make it out of round 1, he said that was a bold prediction. I told you, B, that wasn't bold at all. I like the Lakers are not a good team. They are not. They got fat off of a very bad schedule at the end of the year. And as we've seen in those one-game samples, the sun shines on the dog's ass every now and then. The Lakers just happen to be that dog's ass.
Wow. I will say this, speaking of dogs' butts, I will say this. The stats have been proven.
I'm worried about the segue here.
Yeah.
Teams who have led the series at 3-1 have a 95% chance of winning, and there are only 4 teams. Jack and I went through those this morning. There was only 4 teams, the most recent being a 2020 team that was able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. It's highly unlikely. You have to really fight your butt off, and that's why I was going with the butt segue. You really have to fight your butt off to get there, but it's highly unlikely.
So
the bum in them, I don't see it.
What I'm hearing is you're saying there's a chance. That's what I'm hearing.
Tiny.
There's a
It's
chance.
a 5%
You're
chance.
saying there's a chance.
That's right.
You're saying
5%
there's
is
a chance.
good. 5% is good. Yeah, guys. So I mean, and then you got the Warriors and Rockets. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me. Steph Curry and them are the truth. They are the resolve that we've seen. It's time for me to get a new shirt lined up. I don't know if they could take on the Celtics, but I'm predicting Warriors and Celtics for the championship game.
I had picked the Warriors as a sleeper out of the West at the beginning of this. Actually, about the time they traded for Jimmy Butler.
Mhm.
Jimmy Butler's health throughout the rest of this playoffs will be key to their chances to even getting to the Celtics. But if he can play near, anywhere near his highest level, they'll have a chance to come out of the West.
It shows you how important experience is, right?
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Butler was on some Miami Heat teams that made some deep runs. The Warriors are the Warriors. They're going to do what they do. That's a championship pedigree team that they have right there. The Rockets, NBA is like the perfect one that shows you it's always about steps. You have to have these baby steps of learning before you could be successful. Unfortunately for the Rockets, they're a fun team. They're a good young team. They just got to go through this baby step, and right now they're getting slapped around by a team that's got a lot of experience.
As a Knicks fan, my baby's now 63 years old. When does this?
Wow. Your baby is older than you, Keith. Oh my gosh.
Almost.
As we segue, about 8 minutes left in the show, guys. Let's talk a little MLB news. Of course, the Yankees are still riding high. They defeated the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. These are the game results. Dodgers beat the Marlins. That's a no-brainer. Padres defeated the Giants. San Francisco, that is Seattle Mariners, defeated the Angels. The Minnesota Twins were defeated by the Guardians. Look out for the Guardians, guys. Pittsburgh Pirates lost to the Cubs. No brainer there. Phillies defeated the Washington Nationals. Go figure. Tampa Bay Rays defeated the Royals. The Red Sox, that's you guys' team, defeated the Toronto Blue Jays. The Diamondbacks defeated the New York Mets. The Brewers defeated Chicago White Sox. And the Oakland Athletics defeated the Detroit Tigers. Now, today's games, I know it's so wild. Today's games got Guardians versus Twins, Orioles versus Yankees. Those games are in progress. They started at 6:40. Also, the Pirates are playing the Cubs right now, as are the Reds and versus Cardinals, and the Mariners versus Los Angeles Angels.
And they're beating them up.
Debuts, yeah. Astros pitching prospect is making their debuts against Houston. AJ Blueball made his major league debut.
What?
AJ Blueball made his major. How do you say it? Blue ball.
That's a new genre.
Well, you could say loser today because he lost. He got pummeled today.
Yeah, and then Abreu, the Astros are placing Brian Abreu on paternity list, but he's coming back Friday. McCullers is returning for the Astros. Lance McCullers Jr., guys. He's making his first start since 2022, y'all. He's been out for a little bit. And Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout left today early in the fourth inning after a sprint to first base.
That's a-
Alejandro Kirk hit a go-ahead 2-run double in the ninth run as the Blue Jays beat the Yankees on Friday, and there you have it. Go ahead, I'll let y'all fill in now because y'all done got on me about names and everything.
Mac must have said, "Hey, I watched your show. Could you please include some sports?" Is that what happened?
No, he didn't. You haven't paid attention. I've been trying to include all of this the last couple of seasons. Remember, I sent you guys the itinerary last week. It was the same type of thing, but this week I just didn't send an itinerary.
I feel like what it was, Bo, is that she saw that me and you were back on the show together, and she was like, "Wait a minute, it's been 2 weeks. We can't let the wheels fall off. Tip is here, being his normal, just the tip self, and now we've got to worry about all this other nonsense."
Yeah,
I mean, as far as baseball goes, we got what 140 games left. I don't care.
Well, some people care about every game.
No, they don't.
And
They're lying to you. Don't no one care about every
like,
game.
You're sounding like Jack right now.
I
And
actually,
so,
I actually do care about every game.
thank you, Tip. That's just you. Let that be your opinion. Go
But
ahead.
I think it's more Keith. I think that's more of a Keith thing than it is
Keith
everyone
is
else.
a person, and so am I. So we both care.
He's the exception. Keith is the exception, right?
I try to be an
And
I am
me.
a
Thank
unique
you.
individual for sure. Just ask my wife.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Keith,
with you,
what was your
brother.
thoughts
I'm
on the
with you,
games,
man.
Keith?
so Keith, I wanted to ask you, like,
Well,
what's
excuse me, Tip. I was actually asking
no, it was
something
about the
already.
game. It was about the Yankees game.
I literally was already asking him what his thoughts were on the game.
No, but Keith and I we're both Yankees fans. Like, I'm obviously on the like outside, right? Like, I don't care right now.
So we'll get to your question, though, is what I'm saying. Because you already told me you don't care. So I'm going to let Keith explain what he cares about, and then we'll get to your part about what
Tip,
you
sit
care
your butt
about.
down.
I care about the game of baseball in general, and I hate what's being done to it. Number one, that's another whole show.
Yeah.
As far as the Yankees go, I didn't have a lot of high hopes for the Yankees this year because of injuries to the starting pitching staff, issues with right-handed hitters. Judge is off to a great start, best start maybe of his career because he's never been a quick starter.
Right.
But there's two guys on this team that have been very unsung heroes for this really strong Yankee start, and that's Jeff Weaver and Trent Grisham. These two guys have stepped in where other guys are not contributing. Bellinger's not contributing. Chisholm's not contributing. The pitching staff's been up and down. Rendon, who I'm not a big fan of, is now throwing back-to-back good games, so I'm a little excited about that. We'll see what happens. But their big relief acquisition of Delvin Williams, who I love, is getting knocked all over the place. He's lost his job as the closer for now. He'll get it back. It is a long season, as Tip said. I'm not going to get too excited until Memorial Day about good, bad, or indifferent. But Yankees have done very well early with some very unsung heroes that we don't hear about. These two guys. Jeff Weaver stepped up last year and helped carry that team to the World Series. So it's a long season. I'm excited by what I've seen in April, though, just because I was not expecting them to get out of the gate like this.
So what I was going to ask you about was, like, we heard that Baltimore's been going through a whole bunch of struggle, right? Yesterday they have a batters only meeting, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of. And then they get rocked by the Yankees. The Yankees put up a whole bunch of runs on them. Rendon goes out and basically shuts them down. There was a lot of expectations for Baltimore this year. What do you think they've got to do to, like, try to right the ship? I know it's early, so it's too early for us to be like, hey, what's going to happen? But for Baltimore right now to have a batters only meeting, like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah,
the batters meeting. That's so important. Oh, thanks, Tip.
I actually liked Baltimore in this division. They played very well the last few years, but there's no leader on this pitching staff. They let Corbin Burns walk in free agency, and there's no number one guy here. And they're very injured in the starting rotation. They got a great bullpen, but you got to get to them. You can't have great bullpen and be down 15-3. There's no sense of having it. So they've gotten some slow starts out of Gunnar Henderson, and for whatever reason, Hyde won't let Jackson Holiday hit against left-handers. This kid's going to be really good. There's some issues in Baltimore. And it's a little early. They can get healthy. Their pitching staff. Charlie Morton keeps getting jobs. I went to he graduated a year behind me in high school, Charlie Morton, I think. He keeps getting jobs. He's not even left-handed, for crying out loud. I always have, not always. I've liked Baltimore the last couple of years in the way they put this team together. but Cedric Mullins can't be leading your team in like every offensive category, and you got problems. I think Baltimore will find a way to compete throughout the summer, but they got to find some arms somewhere, or they're not going to compete at all.
Yep. And of course,
all I got to say is go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Listen, like the Tigers, pick them to win that division. AJ Hinch is a very underrated manager, gets a lot of crap because of the most overrated scandal in the history of sports in Houston. But I like some of the kids, the two corner outfielders there. Torkelson's come back from being in the minors for nearly a whole year and really started to put it together. You'll have fun watching Gleyber Torres run the bases there all summer because his strategy on the base pass is basically run until you get tagged. You'll see that a few times this summer. Beef Trilla.
And hey, Javier Baez. We can't stand him here, but he's doing good. He hit a grand slam today. We were looking for that first home run to get him going.
They've been looking for a place to hide him. Maybe they found it out in center field. Right. Some good young pitchers. Scooble's the best pitcher in baseball right now. Casey Mize is underrated. I like that. That's a good team.
And my Mariners are doing the normal Mariner thing. So here we are approaching May, and we're in the front of our division just in time to go down the first ramp. Because we've seen this movie before. So when people are excited about baseball, I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing what we do. And then, we're about a week away from when the wheels start to fall off. And then, then the All-Star break will happen. We'll forget how to play baseball again. We'll kind of work our way back, and then we'll miss the playoffs by 3 games. Like it's, I've seen this before.
That's a team I like. I like them because of their pitching staff. I wasn't sure if they could score enough runs, but now their pitching staff starting to break down, and that's not a good sign for a team that's going to rely on that. That's 5 really good starting pitchers. I think it's the best staff in baseball.
No, the pitching staff is awesome.
But now you're getting hurt. Gilbert went on the DL the other day, didn't he?
I do believe you're right.
Yeah,
but it's funny because we're at the moment, our bats are actually hitting.
Yeah.
So it's that fool's gold. You're like, oh, here we go. They're hitting. But we watched this exact thing last year.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is talking about the Braves. It's like, we are so far removed from the championship caliber team, including, and despite the fact that Ronald Acuna Jr. is back. We lost our most recent game against the Rockies 2-1. It sounds like it's a close score, and it had to be a long, very long game to be that low scoring and only lose by 1 point. But there's been some talks that the Braves manager, Brian Snickers, has been questioned about his lineup decisions. In fact, there's been an analysis of Chris Sale's latest pitching performance, basically talking about the velocity of his fastball is not the same. And so I don't know if any of that stuff we'll play until we only have 14 wins and 15 losses. So that's almost at the even mark.
Remember, you started 0-8. So you're 46 cents, and the Braves will be fine. Again, to go back to what Tip said, it's a 162-game season. The Braves will be in the playoffs.
Ian Anderson is back, and of course they brought back Eddie Rosario too. So those are going to be good.
The guys could be Colorado.
Anderson, actually.
I will say this, like Chris Sale needs to get it going. Like if they want to have any postseason success, Chris Sale needs to get it going.
Yeah, that velocity is serious.
This is the Chris Sale I expected to see last year, quite frankly, after what he'd done with the Red Sox for 4 years before.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, but it's who we should expect. He's older now. The Cy Young season looks like it was more of the outlier than
Thanks, Robbie. He says baseball is good if you have issues falling asleep. Speaking of falling asleep, don't you fall asleep. That's the end of our show for today. Stay tuned. Keith Engel has a show coming up here shortly. I'll be on with Prim and Proper Sports at 9 with Captain Jack Reacham of the Raiders. I'll get a chance to follow with him after he comes back. Huh?
I'm tuning into that show.
You want the bleep button for Captain Jack.
Yeah, literally. And he'll be talking about his draft experience. Of course, he was at the draft. We saw him on TV and everything. He'll be joining me here at 9. Keith always has a good show throughout. Don't forget to join Bistrilla every day, Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. He's also on JB's show at midday, at noon. The Tipton Point is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bo is on, I think, noonish, right, Bo?
Yep,
noon every day.
5 days a week.
And of course, Jay Train is on with myself with Friday with the Fellas, and he also comes on as needed when I need him or or any of you guys actually on the midweek show. So with that, guys, we've had a great show. We thank everybody for all the likes, love, shares. Please subscribe to our channel on Roku and YouTube. And with that, we wish you guys all a very good night. See you soon.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.